A warm good evening to all who have joined here. I am Sandeep C, convener for Project Complete Lawyer. Today we are having the fourth series of the Project Complete Lawyer Career Orientation Lecture Series. The topic that we are going to have today is on the opportunities in the field of corporate construction law, and the lecture will be conducted by Advocate Ratan K. Singh, Senior Advocate of Delhi High Court. Dear participants, gentle reminder, I humbly request everyone to mute their mic and switch on their camera at all times, until the resource person or the organizers request you to unmute your mic. The session will be the lecture will be for 45 minutes, and the remaining 15 minutes will be utilized for question and answer session. And if required, the question and answer session and the lecture, the time needed for the lecture will be extended up to 10 minutes. So in order to initiate the session through a welcome address, to introduce the resource person to all the participants, I invite Aravind Prakash, who is the one of the student members of Project Complete Lawyer. Aravind, back to you.
Yeah, sir. Thank you. So before that, can you make sure that my audio is clear?
Yes, Aravind, you are clear.
Okay, thanks.
You're audible.
So a very good evening to all who have joined this career orientation series on the topic opportunities in the field of construction law, which is organized by Project Complete Lawyer and powered by LGR Voice. I'm deeply grateful to take this opportunity to welcome our non-resource person, Mr. Ratan Kumar Singh, who's a senior advocate and an arbitrator based in New Delhi, having 25 years of solid experience with area of specialization in construction, engineering, infrastructure, mining, and general commercial and civil disputes. Mr. Singh has also been involved with industry players and stakeholders through his chairmanship of the Society of Construction Law India and directorship of Chartered Institute of Arbitrators India. It is indeed a blessing for all of us to have you as our resource person today. We thank you for that. With immense pleasure and on behalf of everyone, I heartily welcome you, sir. And I welcome Advocate Johnson Gomez, Chairman of Project Complete Lawyer, and Mr. Sandeep C, Convener of Project Complete Lawyer. Finally, yet importantly, I would also like to welcome each one of you present here to this session. Thank you.
Ratan sir. Ratan sir, we can start the lecture, I believe. Ratan sir, can you hear us? Ratan sir? Ratan sir? Can you hear us, sir? I think everyone, Ratan sir will be joining back to us momentarily. I request everyone to switch on their camera. If you're not facing any technical issues, I kindly switch on your camera. Ratan sir, I hope I am audible.
Yes, he will join now. Just
Okay, okay. So we will wait for him to come back in a moment. Everyone kindly stand by. Rajan sir?
Yes.
We can begin the lecture, sir.
Okay.
We have with us 23 students of Project Complete Lawyer. They are final year students. We also have with us young lawyers and assistant professors in the audience.
Okay, good. I must thank the organizers for organizing this talk or lecture on career in construction law. Biggest advantage of this talk would be that you would at least know that there is something called construction law, and which gives you career opportunities. And this awareness, in my understanding, is going to take you a long way. Most of the students generally do not know that there is something called construction law, or there is any career opportunities in the field of construction law. So therefore, I must thank the organizers, and particularly Mr. Gomez, for having this talk on this subject of construction law. Construction law is a branch of law which deals with construction, infrastructure, engineering, and projects related to such fields like road, building, malls, airports, power plants, dams, so any infrastructure. Today, from 11 to 4 o'clock, I was in a final arguments for a 6,000 crore, 600 megawatt power plant dispute. We have got foreign experts who have given their opinion and reports on delay. And from 4 to 7 o'clock, I was doing cross-examination for an engineering dispute in relation to one petrochemical plant. These are essentially disputes which have got application of construction law, and these are construction law arbitrations. When I say that construction law deals with infrastructure, construction, engineering, and all of this, what I'm talking about is disputes arising out of these projects. ICC Paris, which is the most prestigious arbitration institution in the world, said in its report that 40% of their arbitrations are construction and engineering arbitrations. In India, 60% large arbitrations are construction arbitrations. Lots of students and lawyers come to me and they say, I want to do arbitration. And I see a lot of interest amongst law students and in lawyers for arbitration. But please appreciate, arbitration is just like knowing civil procedure code or evidence act. End of the day, in arbitration, disputes are determined or resolved relating to X, Y, or G. And in India, broad statistics tells us that 60% of large arbitrations in India are construction arbitrations, as I said earlier. Now, question is, can anybody who thinks of pursuing arbitration as a career or dispute resolution as a career can afford to not know about construction law and construction arbitration? Answer would be no. Unfortunately, in India and Indian law schools and engineering colleges, we do not teach construction law or construction arbitration. Lately, there is some movement, some institutions are in touch with me and they are starting credit courses on construction arbitration. I'm working with them. If you want to pursue arbitration, you must know the industry from which that arbitration dispute has arisen. No arbitration professional can really justify his role in an arbitration unless he knows the industry from which that arbitration dispute has arisen. If one has to pursue construction arbitration, he or she must know the industry. He must know and she must know the laws applicable. What are the typical disputes? What are peculiar disputes peculiar to this branch of law and this branch of dispute resolution? Substantial GDP of your country or any country for that matter is spent on construction. And more the construction, more disputes. In fact, it is very popularly said that disputes are inevitable in construction projects. And if I give you two simple reasons for that. One, that construction projects, construction contracts, construction projects are long-term projects. You have to build a power plant. It may take 2 years, 3 years. You have to build an airport. It may take 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. You have to construct a road. It may take months together. So these are long-term projects under very complex contracts. Stakes are quite high. Expectations are different sometimes. And for multiple other regions, because we do not have enough time to go into the regions for disputes, but I must say that disputes are inevitable in construction projects. And when you have disputes, you have arbitration is the choice of dispute resolution so far as construction projects are concerned. You see any construction contract, you will find arbitration as a dispute resolution mechanism. And you should ask the question to yourself, why arbitration is chosen as a dispute resolution mechanism in construction contracts? And if I give you one simple answer to this is that this field, which is construction, relating to construction projects, has its own peculiarities. You have technicalities involved, technicalities and uniqueness in terms of law, in terms of the nature of the project. Therefore, the decision maker cannot be a generalist. Decision maker has to be somebody who understands the industry. He may be engineer, he may be architect, he may be a quantity surveyor, he may be a project manager, he may be a lawyer who does construction matters, he may be a judge having experience of construction disputes. And these are the career options as well for you. So 60% of arbitrations are construction arbitration, for which you need to have people who really have known that there is something called construction law and construction arbitration. So this is the beginning of a fantastic career one can think of. High-stake matters, a specialized forum, very skilled lawyers. The practices which are followed in dispute resolution for construction disputes are based on international best practices. If you want to learn arbitration, the best way to learn arbitration is to get associated with construction arbitration. Managing in construction arbitration, it has got various peculiarities. Yes, construction law, there are many developed jurisdictions and jurisdictions in the world where construction law is taught in law schools and engineering colleges, unlike in India. There are various institutions in the world which have got different degrees and diplomas in construction law. King's College London. King's College London gives you MSc in construction law. There are other universities in UK where you can have construction, the MSc in construction law. Melbourne University offers multiple courses on construction law. And there are very well written books on construction law. There are very well books written on construction arbitration. And if you want to read the smallest book on construction arbitration, you will have to read a chapter in a book published by Kluwer, and that has just been published. And there in that book on a specialized arbitration, I have written a chapter on construction arbitration. And if you guys do not have access to the book, talk to Mr. Gomez. I'll try doing something for all of you, at least so far as my chapter is concerned. Construction law is itself an established branch of law and also brings into it law of contract, law of tort, commercial laws, planning laws, procurement laws, as well as various other methods of disputes avoidance and dispute resolution, such as dispute adjudication board, expert determination, conciliation, mediation, neutral evaluation, and at the end of it, arbitration. Construction law practice includes contentious and non-contentious work. Contentious work involves dispute avoidance work. mediation, conciliation, as I said, DRBs, arbitration and failing which litigation or arbitration related litigation, and non-contentious works involved range of different tasks from preparation and negotiation of projects, assistance in procurement of various resources and materials, advisory on environmental, planning, safety and employment issues. Every big law firm or good sized law firm had separate construction law division and practice. And you may have many law chambers and individual lawyers who are specializing in construction law and construction arbitration. In fact, many non-lawyers like engineers, architects also run construction law chambers and hires construction lawyers. Every construction company hires construction lawyers. Then question is how to make career in construction law. In US, 26 law schools are having construction law programs in US. And I must say this, students with engineering background gets advantage. It is always helpful. Another way for excelling in this branch of law is to intern and work with construction law practitioners and work with them if it is possible. This practice of construction law and construction arbitration, both, really is very remunerative. You can't think of more rewarding litigation or arbitration than construction arbitration or construction dispute related litigation. If you want to read books on that, for beginners, I'll recommend one book, which is written by Professor John Off of Keating Chambers, the best set of barristers in UK. Professor John Off, who started construction law department in King's College London. For beginners, this is the first book to start with. At later stage, if we meet, I'll tell you what are other books which you should read. At this stage, I think you should confine yourself to this book. Don't clutter yourself with too many books. It will be counterproductive. Now, few thoughts on construction. What is construction and how it evolved? And construction law. For around 6,000 years, construction has been hallmark of the advancement of human civilization. 6,000 BC, Bronze Era, Bronze Age. Building technology utilized clay and mud bricks and timber. Mesopotamian age, that is 3000 BC, development of fire brick technology happened. In Egypt, 2500 BC, emergence of cut stone construction started happening. Now you see lots of constructions, particularly in India, which are cut stone constructions. Between 1400 to 1800 BC in Europe and China, iron was used in construction. 100 BC ago in Rome, the formula for concrete formation and glass technology was used. These were some of the ideas about evolution of construction. And now, some thoughts on evolution of construction law. 1750 BC, 1750 BC ago, Hammurabi Code was written, which is the first codified law. All law students know this. And in Hammurabi Code, there is detailed provision on construction law. Please remember, this was an eye-to-eye era. So Hammurabi Code says that if a contractor builds a house collapses and owner dies, contractor will be hanged. If building collapses, son of the owner dies, son of the contractor will be hanged. As I said, it was an eye-to-eye era, but there was a law, codified law. Around 200 BC ago, 10-volume treatise was written by Marcus Polio, renowned Roman chief architect. But when it comes to the proper development of construction law, if we try to trace that history to find out the structured learning and how it has started. Prior to 20th century, people were not really aware in that sense of something called construction law. And that was the time when contracts were construed strictly in terms of their terms of the contract. Please understand what I'm trying to say here. And that will tell you about the evolution of construction law which exists today. I talked about 1750 BC Hammurabi Code, that is history. But in recent past, prior to 20th century, you will not find anything called construction law. But thereafter, construction law as a subject evolved. And when it evolved, that was the time. Why it evolved? That is what we need to know. Why it evolved as a separate subject. Till then, contracts used to be construed and interpreted strictly in terms of that particular contract. That was one region. And disputes arising in the construction field were deemed to be subsumed by law of contract, law of tort, equity, and surety laws. construction law essentially owes its modern recognition as a separate field of law to the judicial acceptance of doctrine of contextual contract. Understand that. Construction law, which you see today, owes its recognition, modern recognition, as a separate field to the judiciary's acceptance of doctrine of contextual contract, which courts. What is this doctrine of contextual contract? When we talk about doctrine of contextual contract, it means that instead of going strictly by written terms, courts started recognizing industry's own experiences and customs and practices, implied conditions, implied duties, and court began this journey along the road from text to context. And for decades now, civil law and common law jurisdictions have established hosts of rights and obligations as implied in the contract, such as implied duty of good faith. Now, obviously, so far as implied duty of good faith is concerned, it is a concept of civil law jurisdictions which found its place in common law, like in jurisdictions like UK and US. India still lags behind in terms of acknowledging this duty of good faith, though there are few stray comments in very few judgments. Mutual duty of cooperation and non-hindrance if parties to the contract are performing their parts of obligations. There is implied duty on the parties, even if it is not written in the contract, to cooperate with each other and do not hinder the performance by the other side. So there are, as of now, there are well-recognized implied duties of contractors and employers. And if you want to know more about this, again, we will have to have more advanced course or lecture on that. Paul Hardman, there is a case, Paul Hardman versus Arc Power and Light. In that judgment, the judge of the US Federal Court observed very interestingly that construction contracts are separate breed of animal. Some jurisdictions recognize construction law as a complex legal specialty worthy of professional certification, and that is why in various jurisdictions you have courses on construction law, you have courses on construction arbitration, because they recognize that it is a separate field, it is a separate breed of animal. Some academicians, I must talk about critics as well. Some academicians, though incorrectly, views construction law as advanced contract law. I must share with you my personal one experience. 2016, I was speaking in an international conference of SCL in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And we had construction law professors from 23 jurisdictions. And there, this was a debate whether construction law is advanced contract law. This is an incorrect view. If you know less about construction law, you will get more convinced that it is either contract law or advanced version of contract. But if you know more about construction law, if you know the nuances of construction law, then you will get convinced that it is not only contract law or advanced version of contract. Some of the unique features of construction contracts, if I tell you, massive contract documents for any particular project. Organizers will have to tell me when to stop. I don't know what is the time.
Sir, when 10 minutes are remaining, I will give you the indication.
You have to tell me how many more minutes I have.
That is, it is 27 minutes right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no worries.
Okay, sir.
There are various unique features of construction law. I'll give you a few examples. Doctrine of substantial performance. This is unique to construction law. This is unique in law. It only this doctrine of substantial performance is very unique to construction. Doctrine of avoidance of economic waste, very unique to construction law. Like formulas for overheads. Obviously, what is overhead, how it is resolved, what is that and all, this may be difficult for you, all of you, to understand at this stage. But there is something called overhead, expenses of contractor or employer in construction contracts. And in order to determine that, you have formulas, something like Hudson formula, Emden formula, Islay formula. These are very unique. Causation, concept of causation, concept of compensability. In fact, there is something called, very unique to this, complex critical path concepts for measuring construction scheduling, construction delays. Now, whenever you have delay, how to decide how much is the delay, who has caused the delay, and what portion of delay is attributable to whom. These are complex concepts unique to construction industry, construction law, construction arbitration. Very unique construction pricing arrangements, procurement methods. These are all unique. See, you can understand the uniqueness of this. One construction project, small or big, even a small project, if it is going on for 2 years or 3 years, on day-to-day basis, thousands of documents are generated. Hundreds of workers, hundreds of engineers, hundreds of people at site, hundreds of people in the head office are sitting working for a project. Hundreds and thousands of documents are generated on day-to-day basis. And at the end of the whole project, you are in dispute, so you can imagine the number of documents, which is evidence you are faced with. So thousands and thousands and lakhs of documents get generated during the course of project, which are evidence. This is documentary evidence, which is in arbitration, it is famously said that documentary evidence is 9 points of arbitration. You have very limited scope for oral evidence, for very few things which is not recorded, not minuted. And when you have these evidences, they are voluminous. And for that now, you have electronic, there is a development in this field as well. Now you have electronic document management softwares which take care of these volumes of documents. In construction arbitrations, role of experts is common. You may ask this, what do you mean by experts? Experts are independent professionals who are known for their expertise in a particular field, are engaged either by the tribunal or by the parties to give their independent report and independent opinion, which helps the tribunal and parties in crystallizing the issues. What these experts, who are these experts? What are the categories of experts? Suppose you have dispute with the other side. In construction contract and projects, you have something called employer or the owner who wants his project to be done, hires a contractor. That contractor may hire subcontractor. That subcontractor may hire subcontractor, and it goes on like this. You may have vendors or suppliers of materials. You may have banks lending for the project. You may have insurers insuring the project. You may have designers designing the project. You may have consultant giving consultancy for the project. You may have project managers who are managing the project. You may have project engineers who are taking care of the project. You may have contract managers who are managing the contract. Multiple stakeholders, lakhs and thousands of documents. Now, let us assume that the power plant had to get completed within 18 months and it took 30 months. There is 12 months of delay. But then question is, who caused delay? Whether one party caused delay, both parties caused delay, or both of them together caused delay, or both of them caused part of the delay. And parties invariably say all delays are attributable to other side and not to me. Very typical, particularly in India. So arbitrators are faced with a very peculiar situation where arbitrators are burdened with thousands of emails and documents where both sides say that other side has delayed, not me.
Ratan sir, pardon me sir, we have 10 minutes remaining for the lecture. If you want, we can extend the time, sir, if you need.
Okay, let me see how far I go.
Okay sir, okay, fine.
So here you need experts, delay experts. they will reconstruct the whole project life cycle based on the documents produced during the entire course of execution, with the help of internationally recognized method of delays analysis, which requires expertise which very few people have globally. And they come before the tribunal, they say, we have analyzed the entire life cycle of the project. This is how project has gone. These were the delays attributable to X, Y, G. You need experts. You need experts. Let us suppose, let us have an example where dispute is whether a particular machine which was supplied or erected is defective or not. I was doing one arbitration in London under ICC rules. There again, there was a machine and dispute was whether that machine is defective or not. And their arbitrator who was appointed by ICC Paris was an arbitrator who was mechanical engineer turned Queen's Counsel. Today, the presiding arbitrator in my power plant arbitration, which I did today from 11 to 4, gentleman used to be mechanical engineer and then he became lawyer, he became High Court judge, became Supreme Court judge, and he retired and is doing this arbitration. There are salient features of construction contract, and issue is, if you really want to pursue your career in arbitration, you have no option but to know about construction arbitration. There are lots of people who are doing construction arbitration in India, but most of them are really not aware of something called construction law or uniqueness and peculiarities of construction arbitration. They are taking it as just as one of the cases they have. Therefore, anybody wanting to pursue arbitration has no option but to know about construction arbitration, and in turn, no option but to know about construction law. Construction arbitration, stakeholders, stakes are high, lawyers are very good from both sides, tribunals are very expert tribunals. So the whole thing, whole process happens at a very different level where you have international best practices. So if you really want to pursue this as a career option, start finding mentors, start reading good books, be convinced that there is something called construction arbitration and construction law, start reading more and more about construction law, start writing about construction law and construction arbitration, start attending events on construction arbitration, start becoming member of construction law organizations. One such organization, which is world's most prestigious organization, is called Society of Construction Law, headquartered in UK, and we have India branch. You can get associated with that. 10th to 12th of December, we are having 3 days international conference where you will see world's top class construction lawyers and construction arbitrations taking part in that. It is amazing field, career option waiting for you. Take it forward. God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the wonderful lecture. That Actually, 5 minutes are remaining. So I will yield that time for a question and answer session. So dear participants, you can ask questions to the resource person with regard to the topic he has presented. So is there any question? Kindly raise your hands. There is an option in the application where you can raise your hands. First you raise your hands, then I will call upon you. Before asking the question, kindly introduce yourself, then ask the question. So I invite all the participants to raise their questions. Any questions, anyone? Afrad.
സാർ ഏതൊരു ബുക്കിന്റെ പേര് പറഞ്ഞില്ലായിരുന്നോ? ഏതൊരു ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ജഡ്ജ് എഴുതിയ അതേതാ ബുക്ക്?
Yes, Ratan sir, Afrad is asking about the book that you suggested for reading. Can you again kindly?
This is by Professor John Uff, UFF, John Uff.
ബുക്കിന്റെ പേരെന്താ?
Sir, what is the title of the book, sir?
Construction Law.
Construction Law. Yes.
Yeah, it is a paperback edition. Yeah, you just Google and you will get to see this book.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Sir, if I may, since if you permit, I would like to ask a question. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We have Aravind Prakash with us. So, Aravind, I will give it to you. Aravind.
Ratan sir, can you guide us on how to take a membership in Society of Construction Law India? The student membership.
You go on the website of Society of Construction Law and it guides you in getting yourself registered.
Okay, sir, sure.
In fact, anybody who wants to pursue construction law will have to read one document which is inevitable, that is called Society of Construction Law Delay and Disruption Protocol. In short, it is called SCL Delay and Disruption Protocol, which is available for free on the website of scl.org.uk, and it is also available for free on the website of SCL India. This is something which tells you about the best practices for construction industry, construction dispute resolution. For beginners, you may have difficulty in understanding a lot of jargons and so forth. Don't mind. Just read it as a novel to start with. And more you learn about industry, you will read it again and you will get to know more. That is amazing document, best ever written anywhere in world, which is relied by various courts in different jurisdictions. Yes.
Yes, sir. From the presentation that you have just made, it seems construction law is truly multidisciplinary. And for the law student who is not an engineer, who is from a sociological background, BA, especially the BA LLB students and the BCom LLB students, they will be having a difficult time understanding all the jargons. So I believe the suggestion will be to have a partnership with the engineers and the other technical experts. How one should get into.
Suggestion is very simple.
Yes.
Lawyers cannot become engineers. Engineers cannot become lawyers. In fact, for engineers 2 + 2 is 4. For lawyers, 2 plus 2 may not be 4. They think differently. But if a lawyer takes interest in construction law from early on of their career, chances of their making better construction lawyer or construction arbitrator, their chances is better than the engineer making as a construction lawyer or construction arbitrator. What you need to know is industry. What is that industry? Construction industry. What you are supposed to know is what are the typical construction contracts. What you are supposed to know is what are the typical disputes. What you are supposed to know is what are the typical answers to them. And anybody who wants to pursue construction law and construction arbitration, they must read FIDIC forms, standard forms of contract. The FIDIC form, latest 2017 edition of Red Book, FIDIC suite of forms of contract, FIDIC forms of contract. You must read. Those contracts runs into hundreds of pages. Read them, whatever you understand doesn't matter. Read them. When you read them, then you realize how risks are allocated, how rights and obligations are distributed amongst parties, what are the stages involved in any construction contract, what are the self-help remedies there, what are the remedies, contractual remedies apart from common law remedies, and how common law remedies are taken away by contractual remedies. So knowing construction contracts, so FIDIC form of contract, which is used globally either as it is or with variations. This is very important for you to know about something called FIDIC and their forms for different kind of contracts. In India, you have CPWD forms, Central Public Works Department forms. These are all available for free. Read them. Whenever you start your career and you have any construction dispute, first thing you should do is go through page by page and word by word in all the pages of those hundreds and thousands of pages of that construction contract. Once you will go through a couple of such forms, few such forms, your whole life as a professional is going to be much, much easier. You will immediately, somebody comes or you say, oh, this is how it is dealt in construction contracts. Because these construction standard forms are prepared by all stakeholders sitting together, lawyers, engineers, architects, quantity surveyors, all of them sit together. And then they prepare these contract forms so that all aspects of any construction project is dealt with. So knowing that means knowing the industry. These are very, very important aspects. Yes.
So another question that is, it seems the construction law is not so codified. Is it right to say that it is not codified and it is a culmination of different laws altogether?
As I said earlier, see, in fact, before Corona, I was giving a speech I was in Singapore and I was invited to give a speech on an international conference on construction law. And they asked me 3 questions. Do you teach construction law in India? In fact, I have to face same questions on this 5th of November. I am speaking for a international conference happening in New Zealand. These are typical questions. Do you teach construction law in law colleges? This is one. Do you have construction disputes related legislations like you asked? Do you have codified construction law? And third is, do you have specialized construction codes and technology and construction codes? An answer to all the three questions which I was asked in Singapore, I answered to all the three is no. And in many jurisdictions, answer to all the three questions is yes. In UK, you have something called Technology and Construction Code. They have security of payment legislations in that is called Housing Grant Act. So disputes relating to construction are resolved through this codified law in various jurisdictions. You have law in Singapore, you have in Malaysia, you have in New Zealand, you have in Australia, many various states of US. So they have a specialized courts, they have codified law, they teach law in construction law and law school. We don't do this. We are working on this, don't worry. Yes.
Any more questions from the participants?
I hope there is none. I'm really exhausted. I had a long day.
Oh, sorry, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
No, if there is any, I'm happy to take that.
See, we have another 2 minutes remaining. Actually, one more question.
Tell me any other question.
Okay, then. I think there are none. If there is any, I will be sure to collect all the questions and email to you, sir. We have only 2 minutes remaining. So, everyone, it is up to me as the convener for the Project Complete Lawyer to convey the vote of thanks. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. This construction law is something that is very new. I myself, even though I have completed my law graduation 8 years back, I never came across this topic until I met Johnson sir and many of the literature that you have written yourself. From the lecture itself, it is very clear that there are a lot of opportunities for young lawyers to collaborate with other experts in the field. And the construction, especially infrastructure, is very important for the economy. In order to create a $1 trillion economy for any country, infrastructure is very important. And in sustaining a progressive infrastructure, construction law plays a very important role. It is, of course, multidisciplinary, a very complex topic indeed, which was condensed by Ratan sir in 45 minutes. An impossible task, I must say. But nevertheless, the lecture has created a curiosity among the participants that is very, very much sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your valuable time, for sharing your wisdom and your experience in the field. I hope to see many other informative lectures from your side in the near future for the all the beneficiaries of Project Complete Lawyer. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. On behalf of Project Complete Lawyer and its organizers, I convey my vote of thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Very good night. See you all on Monday. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.